What's going on, good people out there in social media land? What's the day? Today is April 29th. It's a Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. That means what? It's hot topics. We're going to bring on two of our guests today, two of our normal hosts. Our fourth one will be on in a moment. I'm Pastor A, Senior Pastor of Zion Church. These are some of our young adults. Go ahead. I'll start to that's my right.
Lady with hey, y'all. It's Nikisha. Hey.
All right. Hey, everyone. It's Sierra. All right. Listen, we're going to get started off Jump Street. Listen, we want you all, of course, always do us this favor. Share this, like us, whatever else you do. Start your watch parties. We're getting ready to talk about some good stuff tonight, as always. We always have a good time. We always kind of start off light and kind of end off on a real hot note. We kind of already got our hot topic for tonight, but let's warm things up a little bit. So here we are. And of course, all of you, if you don't know, please give us your comments. Let us know you're watching. Give us some shout outs. You got any questions? You want to throw your 2 cents in, certainly. We welcome that commentary. So here in the state of Florida, looks like things are slowly reopening for us, slowly but surely. Some are suggesting that it's a method to the madness in the area of openings. Certain things in certain areas that affect certain people. I'll just put it that way. Maybe you can kind of read behind that. But what y'all think about that? Florida is opening back up. We talked about this a little bit last week. It was being talked about as a possibility. Now it's becoming more of a probability that things getting ready to open back up.
Well, to start, I've been, paying close attention as to what will be opening up. Surprisingly, we are excluded at the moment. So Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade won't be doing as much opening as the other states, which I think is a good thing, because if you watch the other states open, you see the trends, you see the increase. It kind of allows the other states that haven't opened to take precaution. And grateful with our governor, as surprising as I am, he is taking heed to watching the increase. So I'm grateful for that. Even if they do reopen, myself will not be moving that fast. So I still won't be going about an abundance of other people, because there's still so much unknown about this virus. But, for the ones that's been protesting, saying open, I need to work, I guess you'll have your chance real soon.
Exactly. We were literally just talking about this last week. I'm glad that they're taking precautious, honestly. I'm glad that they're states, but not all of the states, because those people that want to work, they're able to go ahead and work. Because I was already telling a friend of mine, even if they open us back up, I'm not going anywhere right now, because it's too many unknown factors with the virus. So I think it's good that they're opening up certain parts, and I'm glad to hear that South Florida is still shut down.
So you mean if your job tell you to get out and go to work, you're not going?
Right.
Well,
Right.
that's exactly
Absolutely.
what I'm going to have to move forward to say.
Absolutely.
Because for one, the school is done. So ain't no school. Daycare hasn't reopened. So I'm gonna be one of them ones that's still gonna be home regardless.
So
And
you're
I
gonna
always tell
protest in the
people,
opposite. You're gonna protest. No, no.
yeah, I gotta say, who gonna watch the children? Where I work at? I can't go to jail. I'm so pretty to go to jail.
No job, go to jail. No job, go to jail. No job, go to jail. Let's see.
That's
I'm looking at no
hilarious.
job.
So that
That
kind
is
of leads
hilarious.
us. I'm glad you talked about Dave Broward because there's a debate going on. And Nikisha, you could chime in on this. There's a debate going on in Broward. And Stephon, hang on because we're going to want to jump in on this topic and the topic after this. There's a debate going on about graduation. Man, you just mentioned that Broward and Dave, they are not opening as swiftly as others, which suggests that there is a high rate of cases in Dade and Broward. However, we spoke with the superintendent. I spoke with along with a few of the panelists the other day to the superintendent, and there's the big debate about senior graduation. Everybody wants their child to have their graduation. The school board is saying, no, we have to do it virtually because, and this is before the governor came out with what he said today, you are a parent of a high school senior who is directly affected by this. How do you feel about the Broward County School Board's position to just have virtual graduation? There's a lot of different ideas. Let's have it at a football field. Let's do this. Let's do that. How do you feel about Superintendent Rumsey saying, "Hey, we just got to do this thing virtually. That's all we can do at this point."
Well, at first I was upset. I mean, my daughter is 18, my oldest child, my firstborn. So I've lived 18 years up to this day. So I was super geeked about watching my baby graduate and, going through everything I feel like it's entitled and she's entitled to it along with the others. But what I will say, I think my maturity set in real quick just because it's either we go out, get sick, and then we possibly infect and get sick and may even die, not even knowing, if the body will fight off the virus. So I think my maturity actually set in and I'm okay with it now. There will be some after thought as far as what we can do, but what I'm doing now is I ordered some yard signs, so you'll see my yard will be lit up in the next few days in reference to her graduating. I'm ordering a banner since she can't do prom, so I'm have her pictures plastered over around my gates. Even for my 5th grader who's going to 6th grade, I'm kind of setting up the yard so the neighbors, we're actually going to do a lineup so families and friends can actually come line up, honk horn, throw out some envelopes and do whatever. So granted, it's a sad occasion that I won't get to see her walk, but I do know her grades are where they should be. And I get the opportunity, hopefully, and the next 4 years, I'll get to see her walk for college. So it's bittersweet. I get it. I understand it. I have seen some great suggestions in reference to opening up the football field, but like I said, it's too many unknowns about this virus, and I refuse to put myself or my children in jeopardy for a one-day event. I mean, we can always do the one-day event somewhere else. And while listening to Runchi, at first I was up in the uproar, but when actually listening to him and understanding, he's actually being very mature about it and thinking of the safety of not just the children, but adults and others. So I think we really have to get out of our selfishness about, wanting the graduation and just move forward. We'll eventually get the opportunity in our own shape or form to do what's necessary to celebrate your children. But I think you definitely should do something at home with family and friends to give them some type of celebration. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I said I definitely agree. Somebody said that it, truth be told, you saved a lot of money by going this route, and that's true. Parents are saving a lot of money. I'm going to talk more about what we're going to be doing as a church, but I also agree with you. The challenge that a lot of people I feel is missing in this is once you say we're going to have the graduation, then you're inviting not just the students. You're inviting their parents. You're inviting essential staff, and we don't know who has what. We just don't know. There's too many levels of uncertainty, and you have to do this across the county.
Right.
And so it becomes an absolute nightmare to open yourself up to something, as you said, for a one-day event. Not that it's not important. Please don't ask us to say is we know it is important. However, we have to tend to set up a long-term plan as to how we can handle this. And this is not an opportunity. I think that we should just have this massive event. Hey, see what you say. You don't have a kid at all, but what you say about it?
Right. No, I don't have a leg in a race right now, but I do feel like, of course, on the kids' standpoint, they want to graduate because they worked so hard to get to this point. But I love what Nikisha is doing. I love what some of the other moms are doing with being creative and, celebrating your child within your home and still like letting the neighbors know. Like, I love that element of it and not celebrating at all. Because the reality of it is, it is a public health issue, and it's unfortunate because so many people, like my little niece, she doesn't get to graduate 5th grade graduation, going to the 6th grade. But, creatively, all the moms, I see you guys are doing things to kind of bring that graduation element into the home to kind of make it a standard. So I like it. I agree with you, Nikisha, and
we have another parent, Charlotte, if she wants to chime in. She's a part of our church. She has a high school senior. It affects a lot of people. It affects a lot of people. I'm not gonna let the cat out the bag, but if you're a member of Zion, we got you, man. I'm telling you, we got you. What's up, Ernest? I see one of my high school friends, former classmates, teammate on. I got you, Ernest. But listen, it is something, again, this is one of the things where, you got to make sure you're not trying to be selfish in this matter.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm going to try to tread lightly in this, but there's a selfishness to it. Again, just like last week when we talked about, those working and getting paid from home versus not working. What I try to do is I try to take my selfishness out of the situation and try to say or make decisions that just make sense. Not just to make sense for me, but again, I'm a pastor. I have to do that for just about everything I do. But I think if we step back, as T says, if you don't have a dog in the race, so to speak, what would be the right thing to do? The right thing to do is to put safety first. That's the right thing to do. At the end of the day, will you have some people that are upset? Absolutely. Will you have some people that will feel as if, hey, I've been waiting all this moment for, I've been waiting all my life for this moment. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Absolutely. However, we have to look at the backlash of this. If we have all of these public graduations and something happens, then what?
Liability.
And the liability of it. And truth be told, these districts don't want to take on the liability. That's just, of course not. That's just, they're not going to come out and say that, but that's the bottom line. They don't want to take on the liability of someone saying, I went to the graduation and I got COVID-19 and got sick.
You got me sick at that.
Right.
Not that I willingly went to the graduation, though. You got me sick.
Right. It's just one of those things. It unfortunately, in the scheme of things, a graduation is not considered essential. It's just It's just not. It's just not.
Unfortunately.
In this pandemic, that's what makes this pandemic unique and different from anything else, because a lot of things are just not considered essential. And the essentiality of it is that it's because it requires a mass gathering. That's the key. It's a mass gathering. And, you know, I'm not sure if we're willing to take the risk. I think our new additional co-host is on, Minister McCord. We've been talking about, before we get into our deep subject tonight, we've been talking about openings and we've been talking about graduations. What do you think about it? You know, you don't have a dog in the race either, but you have a lot of students under your watch as a youth pastor that's being affected by it. How do you feel about it?
My stance, really throughout all of this, has been that at the very root of this, overall, this is a health crisis. This is a health issue, and I think we can't lose sight of that. And I think anything that's going to put us at risk is not smart. And a mass gathering such as a graduation, I just don't think it's too soon, really. And you can try to put things in place and rules and all this stuff, but we all know that
it.
Excitement and everything of that day is going to be chaotic. It's going to be chaotic. Your family's going to want to come. Everybody's going to want to come take pictures, do all these things. It'll be nearly impossible to do that, especially for every school or for every district or however you want to do it. I just think it's too soon. I understand. Listen, this is a once in a lifetime thing that people want to experience and want to get that experience. But health is primary. And you have to kind of go to the extreme with it sometimes. Is having a graduation worth you possibly getting sick and losing your life?
I said that.
Or your child, or your grandma, or whoever. Is it really worth it? I think most everybody would say that it's not. It's unfortunate, but sometimes you have to prioritize things. And we have 3 high school seniors in LOZ right now. I've been in communication with them, and obviously they're upset about it. But we as a church are going to do some things for them that'll come out later. So I think it's just too soon, and it's going to be too hard to control, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it, really.
Hey, truth be told, Brandon, what we're planning on doing, we're having major discussions about it. How we're going to do it, how we're going to pull it off. And that's for 3 seniors.
Right. We're still not, we're not concrete yet, because we got to take
not concrete. That's why we can't say it exactly, because we're still not concrete about it. We know we want to do something. We will do something. We haven't determined how we can go about doing it. And again, that's for 3 seniors, not 400.
Right.
And, we just saw this in the athletic world. We just spent the weekend watching
NFL draft virtual.
Who waited all their life to shake the commissioner's hand.
Right.
And how do they have to do it? Virtually. They
go Dallas.
Right. So again, the NFL draft wasn't essential. I thank God my nephew, was last year. We got a chance to, go and do all that. But, we thank God for that. But we see that what we thought was essential 6 months ago,
it's
not essential, And unfortunately, I know you'll never be able to graduate high school again, but Nikisha, you said something very powerful. And I think that we should get our students to use this as motivation.
That's mine.
You miss your high school graduation. If you want to graduate, you need to graduate from college.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's not that we can't do anything.
Right.
We just can't have a graduation at,
like we're used to, like we're accustomed to.
Right.
We got to think of something creative. Something else has to be. We just cannot have a mass gathering like that. the last thing we want, and listen, Orange County may have a different discussion. All of the little counties up in Florida, they may have, but we are a hot spot. We are literally a hot spot. We are the hot spot for this thing. So we can't think just because they have something up in North Florida, we're in a completely different situation. So we have to.
We're 100 graduates in the whole district.
Right. So we have to think of that. And listen, something can be done, but it's going to have to be different than what we're used to.
Absolutely.
Most of us on this line today, our graduation classes were 200, 300, 400.
Yeah.
I graduated 20 years ago. And so we're not talking about, again, we see things on social media and we could do that. Well, you saw those 100 students. That was the whole district. That was everybody from the district graduated. That was the whole town. That was the town graduation. You could do that in rural areas.
Yeah.
We're talking about Broward County with tens of thousands of graduates. And so I think, it could be a school call, but I think what the superintendent is trying to do is he's trying to make a statement that would just be all across, the county. Because we know some of us, if we have a little leverage, Elia do that thing and Dilla to do that thing, and it'll get kind of crazy. And we know it. That's the part we don't like to admit. But Brandy, you kind of skated on the ice on it. But let's be real. We ain't gonna act right.
At all.
We ain't gonna act right.
We're gonna show out.
We're gonna show our natural butts out. You don't want to say it because you PC. I understand. Well, we ain't gonna act right. We just ain't gonna act right.
We gonna cut up.
One of us gotta cut up. I know it.
One of us have to be PC. We got to balance each other.
All right. I don't got no county check.
I got a state one, but it's all right.
I got a state one. I'm living off the Lord.
And then think about this. Say we do have something at a football or something like that. Think about all the resources that's going to be needed to do that. Not just monetarily, but manpower. Now you're going to need BSO to come out there. And we're already trying to figure this whole thing out on this front, trying to limit our contact and things like that. So you're going to need police departments and all these places to come out and be in the middle of this, and county workers, whoever, that we really shouldn't put them in that position. So sometimes you have to think about things outside of just your personal want. You got to think about everything that's going to go into it, and sometimes it's just not worth it.
Sure.
This is one of those situations where the good have to suffer with the bad.
Absolutely.
Because somebody said, I saw on social media, we could do it and practice social distancing. They ain't gonna practice social distancing.
They ain't gonna do it.
They've been doing it already, some people.
Right, they're not doing it already, right.
We ain't gonna do right. We ain't gonna do right.
And the part, and again, these are conversations that are had in, dark room somewhere that nobody would want to put their name to it. But somebody said, you know what? If we did this, they not going to act right. And that is the bottom line. And again, we're going to need more than the normal security and, police department. You have that anywhere at the graduation. But we're talking about limiting, when it gets to capacity, nobody else can come. No, man, Grandma George from Georgia to come to this thing. She getting in this. It's just, it's something that we can't take the risk of. We, unfortunately, be creative. Be creative. Again, I said this when we were interviewing the superintendent, and he applauded the effort. I encourage parents, civic leaders, churches, use this opportunity to be creative. Can't have mass graduations. You can have mini graduations. You have 5 or 6 kids in your church, in your organization, on your football team, cheerleader squad, whatever. Use this opportunity to be creative. That's one thing about us. We know how to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll know how to be creative. We'll be so creative that next year's class wouldn't want to go to the auditorium to graduate. They want to have a personal graduation. I'm telling you, somebody gonna go all out, man. Somebody's gonna do a red carpet. They're gonna do the whole thing. It's your thing, man. Do it, man. Do it. Make it big. But please don't feel any type of way. Don't get mad at the superintendent. Don't get mad at people because it's just a waste of. I've seen petitions. I've seen call down here. Y'all don't call down there to the school board when. Come
on, Pastor.
No, I'm not gonna do it because it amazes me how everybody knows how to contact the school now.
But can't contact them when the child acting up. Come on, Pastor.
Child acting up, you don't even answer your phone. Now you want to call. We getting off topic. We getting hot now. We getting hot. No. That's not.
That's why we here.
They're gonna get mad at me, man.
That's all right. It's the truth. The truth will set you free.
Exactly.
But listen,
I
do. Go ahead. Nikisha.
I do want to say, just to piggyback, like you said, with our selfishness, parents, grandparents, we really have to remove our selfishness from understanding what the health is. I made a post a few days ago in reference to saying, I get it. I get you wanting to reopen. I get you wanting the graduation. But does anybody actually get it when someone close in your family catches that virus and then you're upset? Nobody's thinking about if somebody in my family catches it. The way this virus set up is taking people out, and you don't know if your immune system is strong enough to handle it. So instead of you saying, I want, you may need to change your thought process and say, if my parent gets this, if my child gets this, are they going to survive? So that's the mentality that I have now. Like, I'm very strategic on how I move, where I take my children. And I really feel like people still aren't taking this thing serious enough. And that's why it's so many protests. There's so many, we got to do this. They should have a graduation. I definitely listening to Runchy, and hopefully we play it back so people get the opportunity to hear him. I definitely support his stance on it. And I really hope people start taking the virus serious. I don't think they take it serious enough because it hasn't happened in their household.
Listen, there are people who have passed away, whether it's from COVID or whatever, and they couldn't have a proper funeral.
Absolutely.
Somebody essential. Talk about one time graduate, you got once to die. One time, you get the one shot at dying, and people can't have a proper funeral for their loved ones. So this falls into that category.
Absolutely.
Is it unfortunate? Absolutely.
Yes.
But miss me with that flooding the school board stuff, because you know these schools been waiting to hear from y'all. They've been waiting. You know, for years, all year they've been calling, and some of these kids barely gonna grab. No.
Well,
okay.
Pastor, I said this the fourth quarter, the third or fourth quarter, and like Runchy said, if the child ain't signing in and doing these assignments, they may not graduate.
Hello, they may not even graduate. You know, make sure they forget about graduation. Make sure they earn the diploma, because there's some parents out there so concerned about graduation that they're gonna look up and the child not gonna even get the diploma
over something as simple as signing in.
You know, so it's we don't want to minimize. I don't have a graduating senior, but again, I try to make decisions by taking my feelings out of it. Absolutely. And saying what makes the most sense. The most sense is, hey, this falls in line with everything else that's been interrupted, disrupted between, you know, their weddings. People been, you know, planning and spending their money, saving their money. Weddings had to be canceled, postponed. Funerals can't happen. You know, I've seen prominent people that passed away, and 15 to 20 people have been able to show up to the funeral. So all of these things have just been, it's nobody's fault. Yeah. But as the old folks would say, it is what it is. And we just got to move on. So,
yep.
Wow.
Well, last week we talked about this whole pandemic, and we were talking about the stimulus package, and we were talking about, you know, the need of not needing the stimulus. You know, my mama texted me today, oh, I got my money. Well, whoop-de-doo, good for you. I ain't got mine yet. Okay. You got yours, Nikisha?
I did.
All right.
You're all alone, man.
Woo!
Oh goodness! Now and then there was one.
Hold on, I'm gonna text you my cash out. You are a fit. I thought we was together, man.
Oh, God looked out for me. I had to talk to God. I was like, "You gonna leave your best man out?" And he was like, "I got you." And it came.
What your shirt say, Nikisha? Suddenly.
Thank you, Brandon.
I like that shirt.
If you use my oil,
GoPro.com, you get that shirt.
Pastor, did you get this shirt yet?
I got on 41. It's been 41 days. I'm still waiting.
That's why you ain't got it. You need to get this. Get it.
And if you use my oil to pray over that prayer, I want 30%.
I got the oil and I got it written in my scripture right here on the Bible. Yes, sir.
You know what? That. Well, anyway, for me, you know, I haven't been able to receive mine for me or my children. And you know, we got into the discussion of finances. And my auntie say she feel bad for everybody. Feel bad. They ain't offering me nothing. Everybody feel bad. They pray.
We praying.
Hold on, let me check my phone. Cash out. No,
Kim got the money. That's why you ain't got it.
You know what? She checked the mailbox every hour on the hour. She may have gotten it. But on a serious note, we ended up talking about finances and as young people and young adults, talking about how there's a need to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to where getting a stimulus is a bonus and not a necessity. That if I don't get the stimulus, if you're like me and may the last one to get it, or maybe they'll run out before I get it. I need the stimulus to survive. And there's a lot of young adults, unfortunately, that look like us, that are struggling in the area of finances. They were struggling before COVID-19. COVID-19 allowed them to be blessed financially. And they needed the stimulus to catch up on some things because they were already behind. And so last week we ended the show talking about the importance of Me Eater. Thank you, Vanessa. I had to stop. I saw somebody Me Eater. Thank you, Vanessa. I'm glad there's somebody else in the world that ain't got there. But we wanted to spend a little bit of time, and you know, the young adults, they kind of threw me out on the line on this one. So they're gonna kind of let me ride this ship a little bit. But listen, I'm gonna say up front, I'm not a financial advisor. We're not here, we're gonna try to make this thing as plain as possible. But we are gonna talk a little bit about finances and the importance of it. And one of the reasons why I'm struggling because these kids behind me, they using this time to raid my refrigerator, but that's a whole nother story. I need the stimulus for groceries. That's all I need it for. But I'm gonna ask everybody out there this question: what does this mean? Man, I'm broke. For depending on where you are financially, that term can mean a whole lot. What I try to teach myself and those that are up under my leadership is it is important that we all learn how to redefine broke. For most people, broke is just that. Broke is zero. When they say they broke, they mean that, Jack. I ain't got it. I am broke. But as you mature in life, broke can't mean broke. I believe that broke should be or mean that you have reached your level of spending. That's what it should mean. I have reached my level of spending to the point where I'm not going to go below this line. That's what that means. I believe that each individual should strive to have a significant savings account, which starts with 1 month of savings and at best gets you to about 3 to 6 months of savings. That should be your new broke. When you say you're broke, you still have at least minimum 1 month as you grow up to 6 months worth of savings in your bank account at all times. Because nobody knew 60 days ago that we would be in this pandemic. Nobody knew. Some of us didn't know whether our jobs was going to pay us or not. So there's a level of unknown and uncertainty that has always been around. But this is the first time that we've all felt it globally. And so we want to help young adults to try to get them to understand that somehow I'm just reading stuff online. It's crazy.
It threw me off.
I'm not gonna put that on there. He say, "Hey, grandma been broke but still buying stuff." Yeah, because she had to read that she wasn't broke. She wasn't broke.
Different. That's right.
Yeah, her broke was different. You know, we have to learn how to redefine that. Out of all the things I've ever talked about in finances at my church, at our church, I think one thing has sticking out, and Brandon and T, you can maybe confirm this, is this quote right here.
Yeah.
Yes,
money talks.
Definitely.
Growth whispers. Man, the moment I learned that, it changed my whole life.
Yeah.
Because people who have money like to talk, right?
Yeah.
You know, they talk around tax time. They talk around stimulus check time. They talk around payday Friday time. Mm-hmm. But in between those times, the rest of the time, they quiet. They quiet. But wealth whispers. Wealth will walk in the room and you'll never hear him coming. I want you to look at this again. I want you to look at the top two guys. We don't mind the color of their skin. And we'll look at the bottom two guys. The bottom two guys are two of the richest people that have ever walked the face of the earth in the world right now. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates could probably walk in a room anywhere and most people won't even recognize them. Because they're going to have on a pair of khakis, a little Hawaiian shirt, and some Payless tennis shoes. Yeah. There's no way in the world that most young African-American billionaires will walk around looking like that.
Ever.
Because we like to talk. We like to be loud.
Flashy.
With what we have. We like to be flashy. Having money is not about how great you can show it. It's about how great you can keep it. And so redefining broke, in order to do that, you got to make sure, man, that you're not too busy trying to show it. It's okay. And I want to put this out there. And again, you know, forgive us. For one, I don't have my glasses, so I can't hardly see. So forgive me. But there's 3 standards of living. I don't think I have the slide. But there's 3 standards of living. There's living beneath your privilege. There's living above your privilege. And there's living right at your privilege. Living at your privilege, most people do that. That means you're living paycheck to paycheck. That means every dime you make, you gotta kick it out. Whether it's, you know, you gotta pay bills with it. Most people, a lot of people living above, which means you're just in a rat race. That's what we call robbing Peter to pay Paul. The best way to live is beneath your paycheck. I strive to live beneath my paycheck. Whatever I make, I strive to live below that. Why? Because I'm redefining what my broke is. I can't live paycheck to paycheck. Because a person like myself, if I were to live paycheck to paycheck, what happens when a pandemic happens? We can't have church. The people can't give. Now my paycheck decreases. Then what happens? I'm out of gas. I'm scarred. So the best way to live is below your paycheck, and it's okay to live below your paycheck. So I want to talk real quickly about two things: saving and spending. I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how you saving streams and spending. I want to talk about those three things real quickly, and you guys can chime in. People often ask me, how do you save? The best way to save is to start somewhere. The first thing people normally say when I say you got to have a month worth of savings, what's the first thing they say? I can't do that.
Can't do that.
I can't do that. Well, before you get to a month, you can get to a day. How much you make in a day? Do you make $85 a day? Some people don't have a day's worth of savings in their bank account. One day. One single day. You start off with a day. You go from a day to a week. You go from a week to 2 weeks. You go from 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And before you know it, you'll be at a month worth of savings. So, we have to get out of this mindset of I can't. Because if we were to pull your bank account, it will suggest that you can.
All right.
Here's what I discovered. Most, and African Americans, I'll say this data, and I said it last week, we make the less but spend the most.
All the time.
Those are facts.
Yeah.
Those are facts. Every business model strategizes how they can market to the black man. Why? Because we're the biggest spenders. We're the biggest spenders. So we always say we can't. No, we're good. What I discovered is we're good in paying everybody else. We're just bad at paying ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right.
We're great at paying everybody else. We're good at it. Most black people, and this is a misnomer. We don't like to owe people. We'll pay them. We have a problem with paying ourselves. That's the biggest problem that we have.
And I think one of the things we've adopted and I've adopted is, you have to prioritize. You have to be intentional about saving. It's not just going to happen.
Right.
And for one, you have to, start small and it'll build up. But also, you have to look at it from this standpoint. First, I'm gonna save. This is what we do. Me and Jazz. We save, we sow, and we spend. So basically, the sow will come first. We sow first, we save, then we spend. And
that's this model, guys. This model right here.
Right. So basically, every time we get a check or any kind of income, anything, a gift, whatever, we sow, we save, we spend, and then splurge. Exactly. And if you save, if you spend and splurge first, you're not going to have enough to save.
Right.
So you have to do it in that order. And you have to be intentional about it. So whenever I get my check, the first thing I do, I sow. I pay my tithe, I give my offering or whatever. If I want to bless somebody, whatever, I do that first. And then we decide how much is going into the savings account. Okay, and then we say, all right, now we pay our bills, which we've already budgeted. And then after all that, we say, okay, how much money do we have for this leisure spending or splurging or whatever? If you don't do it that way, you're never going to save. You're never going to save if you don't do it that way. And it doesn't matter what amount you're making. the same. The principles are the same no matter what you're making, and if you do it out of order, it's not going to work. Like for me, I get anxiety if my account gets down to a certain number. Like I'm literally like, okay, I need to call and I need a detail. I need something because this can't work for me. And that number is not zero.
Right.
That number is not zero. That number is
right.
I literally I get worried. You know what I'm saying? So you have to adopt that. Okay, I get this little stimulus or this income tax check. It's not, let me go to the mall first. Let me go to Amazon first. No. It's let me sow, let me save, and then do my spending and my splurging. You have to do it in that order.
I think it's all about changing the mindset. Like Pastor A said, it's always I can't. And for me as a young adult, and I'll be very transparent, I was that person. I can't. Every time I get my check, I'm like, this check can't pay all the bills. So you know what? I'm gonna save next check. But you just got to do it. So some of the things that I started doing, the first thing I did was set up my account where it takes the money off top. So it go directly to the savings account. And you can start from $1, $5, $10, but your mindset literally has to be ready to do it. If your mindset is still, I can't, is never going to move forward to it. And something else I did, stimulus, yes, since I did get my little money, I put in my savings. I put at least a third of it in my savings. And just another thing that got you, Pastor, I got you. I'm gonna buy you this shirt right here. Brandon,
I got it. I got this shirt.
You got that shirt? I'm gonna get you another one.
I got every shirt he ever made.
Nancy, I need you to get him a shirt.
I got the shirt he coming out with. He ain't even got it yet.
He got every shirt.
But a great thing, if the something that I actually when I brought it up last week, for parents that pay daycare and your child isn't going to daycare and you're still working from home, I still paid it as a bill. I actually pay it to my savings account. So I'm guaranteed $300 or whatever it is I pay every month until they go back. So that's a quick way to save. It ain't gotta, if you can't do it, for me, that was a quick, easy way to put that good balance in my account. I ain't gonna touch it. And but that's a quick way. Certain things that you're not spending, put it in your savings. Some of that stuff can go directly in your savings, and I promise you'll definitely reap the benefit at the end. You just got to change that mindset. And once that mindset is stimulated to go, it'll be like clockwork. You'll be doing those three things. Brandon is so save, spend, and splurge. I got to work on the splurge part. I'm being real frugal right now, so I'm definitely going to
splurge on yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that. Because hey, I'm being transparent, man. We're gonna talk about investing, Stephon. We are. And I may touch on it tonight. I want to start very small. I totaled my truck in February, and I was in such a rush to get a new truck, and it's almost May, and I ain't got no truck yet. Because I got a little rental for a little bit, and then this pandemic hit, and I'm like, wait a minute, man. I saw that, I didn't have that truck note, put that to the side, did it again. I'm like, man, I got like $1,500 just like that. Yeah. That's what I was giving to Chevy for those 3 months. I would have gave that to Chevy. I was like, man, I'm trying to, now I went from wanting to go to the car lot the next day. Like, man, I don't know. We might have to, share this car a little bit. Yeah. Because I'm like, man, I was already saving, but now I just saved $1,500 just like that. Not new money, old money that I didn't have to spend because my car got totaled. There's some people right now at home not spending what they would have spent on going out, getting their hair done, gas. No, man, you should shift that into your bank account.
Absolutely.
This pandemic has jump started your savings account.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it should have done.
Yeah.
Quite easily.
You have
but
to
you got to have a design.
You have to treat your savings like a bill.
Absolutely.
You have to treat your savings like a bill. You're gonna make sure you pay T-Mobile. You're gonna make sure you pay Comcast and all these people. You got to make sure that your savings is one of your bills. That's the only way to do it. And anytime you pay something off, like he said, he did with the truck. He don't have that note anymore. Okay, well, I'm still gonna pay it. I'm just paying myself now.
Right.
If you pay a car off, if you pay a credit card or whatever it is, whatever you were paying monthly, when that payment stops, keep paying it. Just pay yourself now.
Absolutely.
You were used to paying it anyway. So keep paying it, and you will be surprised how quickly that that money will start growing. Even like with your income tax and stuff. Some people, man, get so much money on these income tax, and by the time next year come around, it's all gone. They're waiting on the next year.
They start talking.
You mean next year? You mean in the next month?
No, they start talking. Everybody start knowing. Everybody know it. Everybody know it. Everybody know it.
I mean, you getting an $8,000 return. What have you? Not even half. Just take $1,000 of that. Just $1,000.
Just $1,000.
Okay, and just put it in your savings. Make that your new zero.
Yeah.
So it's that mindset has to change. It really does.
Gotta change. Absolutely.
What we have to understand is everybody, Visa, MasterCard, your car dealership, the mortgage company, they want you walking around handcuffed. Whenever we sign up on a loan, I used to think that there was good debt and bad debt, house note and car note. We consider those good debt. Hey, man, debt is debt, okay? It's all crippling. It all handcuffs you, right? Rent is debt. You have to, we talked about living beneath, your living, your paycheck. So what you have to understand is the key to the game is getting out of that debt as quick as possible, right? So I'm going to use again, Brandon, for those that don't know, he's my son. I've been able to, be a part of some intricate things in his life. So, when he first started working, he needed to go get a car. So, okay, son, we got it. Let's think this thing through. Number one, you're a police officer. They're giving you a car. You're going to drive that car for the most part.
Right.
First thing I asked him was, what can you afford? Okay, if this is what you can afford, what he can afford probably could have got him an Impala, but we went under. We got the Chevy, got the Malibu, because we go under. We always go under. So if you say, I can afford $400, fine. I'm going to tell you how to spend those $400. We're not giving those $400 for 5 years to Chevy. No. We're going to get those $400 to Chevy in 2.5 years. Why? Because you're going to get a Malibu. You're going to go under that. You're going to get you a car where it's $300. But you said you can afford $400, so pay the $400. But if you pay the $400, that $300, they're going to tell you what? 60 months. It takes you 60 months if you pay $300. Mm-hmm. But if you pay $400, you can pay it off in 2.5.
Yeah.
See, this is the type of stuff they don't teach you. They're not going to teach you that. You say you can afford $400, fine. So what you're going to do is this. You were willing to sign up to pay $400 to Chevy for 5 years. You're going to pay $400 to Chevy for 2.5 years, and for the next 2.5 years, you're going to pay yourself. So we're not even talking about just using that simple strategy of living beneath your benefits or your paycheck. That's just one small example how living underneath your paycheck will cause you to pay yourself back. Because the first thing people say when it comes to money is, I need more of it.
Right.
Always.
And I don't want to get scripture, but this is the most I preach to. I've been preaching to empty buildings, so y'all three makes the majority of the people I've been preaching to lately. It's not more. Money is not you needing more. What you need is management.
Right.
Once you manage and get the management, you will have the more. And so if you just take that philosophy, I don't care what it is, for if it's I use that strategy for anything that you have to pay monthly. Because if you use that strategy for anything you have to pay monthly, it's all about taking that dollar, whatever that dollar sign is. I like to say half. If I could drive an Escalade now. I could make an $800 payment, but I get a $400 truck because that's what I don't want to. I got this same phone. Everybody talk about my little phone. Rev, you need a new phone. I've had this phone for 4 years. I got this phone 5 years. The year Joshua was born. I got this
still
same.
Work?
Guess what? It still do the same thing y'all stuff do. It still text. It still ring. I may have to reset it every now and then because the memory going a little low, but that's all right. I got this same phone because I want to live underneath my privileges. Mm-hmm. That is the key of life, ladies and gentlemen, that you got to always make sure that you are living underneath wherever you are, because that means it doesn't matter how much you make. However, I want to say this for those, and this dawned on me today, for those that, and I get it, and there are people that's barely making it. They gotta get every dime. Every dime has to go to bill. They're not splurging. Here's where we mess up. We don't do what our forefathers did. We took what our forefathers did and we made it a curse. You know what most of our foreparents did? They had multiple jobs, didn't they? They had more than one job.
Yeah.
They had more than one job. They had to have those more than one job to make ends meet. But what we did was we got all sassy when we was able to get one job to make ends meet, and some of it ain't even meeting real good, but we made it meet a little bit. We said, I ain't got to work a second job. This one job could do. And you know what we missed out on? The streams. You see, they did it out of necessity. We could do it to develop streams. When I think of streams, I think about this lady right here. Oprah.
Goodness.
Tyler Perry. What I've discovered, and chime in if this is not true. I've never seen a successful person that didn't have streams. Think about that for a moment.
It won't happen.
I've never seen a successful person sustain success without streams. That's why athletes go broke 2 years after they retire. Multi-millionaires. I have never seen a successful person maintain success without streams.
It won't happen.
But for some reason, we downplay streams. We laugh at people who got a second job. If that one job is making ends meet, get a second job and turn that second job into your savings account.
Right.
That's your stream. Let them laugh at you. You're not doing it to pay your rent.
I saw a post today that was about LeBron James. It said that he's made or projected to make about 400 and something million from his NBA salary. But his the projected number for him to make from his endorsements and things after outside of basketball was like $1.5 billion.
Gee whiz.
So he's a basketball player. That's what we know him as. 400 and something million that he's going to make from basketball. 1.5 billion from everything outside of basketball.
Come on now.
Multiple streams.
Streams. you could develop streams. I mean, how do you develop streams? That's always the question. Usually what I tell people is this. Usually streams are developed at least one or two ways. The best way streams are normally developed is what I tell people. Take if they're paying you to do it, you're good at it. They're not paying you to do it if you're not good at it. Develop the stream by taking that same talent and doing it for yourself. For teachers out there, they pay you to teach. Start a tutorial company. They pay you to do what you're doing. Find a way. How can I do that? They pay you to be an officer. At some point, you could take all that knowledge and start a security firm. Mm-hmm. Anything that you get paid to do, if you've been doing it a while, you're probably good at it. Especially if you can give them your butt to kiss and they don't fire you, that means you're very good at it.
Right. Right.
You're so good that they are monetizing your time and you don't even know it. They're holding your time hostage for $15 and $20 an hour. When you could probably take that same skill and do it on the side for much more. Yeah. But you got to be willing to exercise the streams. You know, these are my streams. I want to put these up. These are my streams, right? I like to be, when I'm teaching finances, I like to be transparent with it, right? So these are my streams. The church, I got the church as pastor. I have my ministries. We own a catering company. We do summer camps during the summer. I have my printing business, and I'm tapping back into A3 is a business I had years ago, Austin Anointed Audio, which we install audio and video systems. I hadn't done that in years. I hadn't installed an audio video system outside of Zion since 2010. But this pandemic, I got pastors and people calling me all over the place. I'm tapping back into an old stream.
Awesome.
So I got all of these streams. That's 6 different streams. I can write a book. I'm gonna spend the next 15, I'm gonna spend the next 15 days or 20 days writing a book, my next book. If I charge $15 a book, there are people that get paid $15 an hour. If I spend 15 days and write a book, that book could make me $15 for the rest of my life. That one little stream. I got a book I wrote 3 years ago. I'm still selling the books. I just got them reprinted. These are developing streams.
Awesome.
These are things, and I'm no respecter of person. That's just a stream for me. So, yes, you know, I don't want Zion to not be able to fulfill their financial obligation for me. But if in times like this, you know, I'd rather spend my time just preaching the word of God, not saying I need y'all to give because, you know, if y'all don't, Pastor Light's going to be. I don't want to become that guy. But if Zion was my only stream, this pandemic would kill my family. So what I'm saying to everybody out there is the key to the game is developing streams. You could develop a stream through saving and, as somebody said online, investing. That can become a long-term stream for you. Yeah. That's a good long-term stream, investing.
And you can do that when you develop good habits and you have extra to invest.
Right.
You're not going to invest your less. That's more of a gamble. But when you develop good habits monetarily and you have the extra to invest, that's a whole nother stream. I've been investing for a few years. I recently, there's a few apps and things you can use. Even outside of that, I have other portfolios that I'm investing in for like longer term savings. And you'd be surprised how quickly those can grow. Mm-hmm. For a very minimal amount, you know, starting off, how quickly those things can grow. You have to develop those good habits so that you have the extra to invest. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've been seeing that a lot of more people are getting into the investing in the E-Trade and the Robinhood and all that stuff. And that's great. I'm glad that more people are getting hip to it, because these are things that other folks have known for years.
Mm-hmm.
So when you develop those good habits, then you can take a little bit of that extra and start investing it. And now you're making money while you sleep.
That's the name of the game. Making money while you sleep. Making money, monetizing your talent outside of your job, monetizing that. Hey, I'm gonna go. I've got a meeting this Friday. I'm gonna go. We're gonna sign this contract. Boom, that's gonna be money in my hands that from a talent that I had. That's it. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not. It is a lot of different ways to make money. We don't down 9 to 5, but again, chances are that 9 to 5 is not going to give you everything you need. It's just not. If LeBron James, if his 9 to 5 is not enough, which most of us would give our right arm, leg, eye, and ear for, if his 9 to 5 is not enough, then what makes you think your little 9 to 5 making $30,000-$40,000 is not enough? It's enough to stay struggling. That's what it's enough to do.
And I think one of the things that we don't necessarily look at as a stream all the time, but it can be. This is mainly for the married couples out there. This is a conversation me and my wife has had. She's a student right now. She don't get a check, but at some point when she graduates, she's going to have a very good job. And we've already started talking about that. Her paycheck is going to be another stream. That's going to be another stream. We've been living off of mine.
Right.
And we're just fine. And we're just fine. So when she starts getting paid, now that's a whole nother stream that's going to be coming in. So, for couples and for married, you have to look at it at that. Don't live off of this is what we make collectively per se. Don't live off of that collectively. If we've been living just fine off of one, then when hers come into the picture, we can still live off of one and save with the rest of it, invest with the rest of it, travel with the rest of it, whatever we want to do. We're not going to just start,
exactly
these big structures now that another check is in the picture.
Right. So if people start saying, why every time we see your wife and all that water behind, just say that's because she's my stream.
I think you missed your calling, Pastor.
But again, I'll say the same thing. Before, my wife was a school teacher, and I was talking to Rumsey, and I made mention of that, and he didn't catch it because I wanted him to say, "Can I hire back?" But
I heard you.
He was slow, man. I was waiting. I was like, "Come on, Rumsey. Catch this bait, man. I'm trying to get you an employee." But we did that for years. We lived off of my income. My income paid the mortgage, paid the car notes and all those things. She did very minimal. So we used the majority of that as our savings. She did some things that she wanted to do, but we were not trying to live off of both incomes. So it was easy for me to make the shift of, hey, let's go into business together. Let's come off of this. We could do that because for years we were using her income as our saving stream. And I was still doing savings. I would preach, and every time I would, somebody would give me something, I would use that as a savings. You cannot live at your level, man. You just can't. It looks good to do it. Yeah, it looks real good. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the thing about having multiple streams is if one gets shut off, I got 5 more still flowing. So, again, go back to Brandon's scenario. Okay, fine. We could live off Brandon's income. Well, if Brandon, God forbid, something happens to Brandon, well, we could just shift. Now we can live off of Jazz's salary. We can flip that thing. So it is important for those that are watching, man, that we got to just start to we don't know how to whisper. We don't know how to whisper. You know, most people, you know, what were you, Brandon? 23 at the time, 24? You know, they would have got 22. Yeah, man, they would have got on that car lot and probably bought a Corvette. For what? For what?
Yeah.
For what? You're talking way too loud. You're talking way too loud.
And there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of things out there that people just don't know about. Different accounts and different things that you can do. One of the people that trained me when I first started on my job, I mean, I was fresh, I was new, and he told me, man, hey, you need to open up this deferred comp account. And real simple, showed me the way. Past few years ago, God bless his soul. He told me, man, you need to open this account Nationwide, and it'll be a few dollars a check, nothing crazy. And he said, you'll be glad you did it. He said, you'll be glad you did it, because by the time you retire, you're going to get a check for at least $1 million. That's what he told me. And, you know, I started it right away. I didn't even see the money come out. It came right out of my check. It's before taxes. So you really don't see it.
Right.
And it came out every check, barely noticed it. And I mean, the way it's grown to now, 6 years later, that is probably the best advice I've ever gotten. So there's deferred comp accounts out there that you can get in just a few dollars a month. It's up to you how much you want to put it in, and it grows and it grows and it grows. And then you can use that money. If you need to pull from it, you can. If you want to pull, recently I pulled some of the money from that account and started another investment account with Charles Schwab. And now that's growing on something completely different. So there's things out there that people have known about for years that we just have never been hip to. So we have to get educated on these things. And I'm telling you, it's money that you won't even miss. And years down the road, you will look at the account and be like, wow, I actually got that much money. So we have to educate people, and we also have to, be willing to take a small little hit sometime for long-term growth.
Absolutely.
It's funny you said that, because this is on my vision board, that, and you see the date there, that represents 10 years from now, which would be my 50th birthday. This check that I made, I plan on cashing it.
Yeah.
That's a goal.
Yeah.
But I didn't come up with that idea yesterday. You know, these are things that, with little savings, little investing, these are things that you can do where, you know, I can be a first millionaire in my family. And I don't dribble a ball. I wasn't a quote unquote televangelist that I robbed people of their money. I just took and made investments early. See, this is a show for young adults, especially. So it's early. It's early.
Yeah.
You know, you're in your 20s. A lot of people talk, they're in their 20s. Not to say that you can't do this if you're not in your 20s, but capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Capitalize on that. Do these things now, man. We always end up, this retiring, working 30, 40 years. Man, the retirement age keep moving up.
Come on now.
They keep moving up. They're going to tell you when you can retire.
Right.
The devil is a lie. They're going to tell me when I can retire. I'm 70 years old. Listen, people hate to hear this, but that's modern day slavery.
Yeah.
We're going to keep you on this plantation for 40 years and pay you pennies every year. We're going to give you a little increase. Oh, she got $10 more. Praise the Lord. and you making that company millions.
Yeah. And they're making money off you too.
They making money off of you. That's again, you know you're good at what you do, because some of y'all go on y'all job, y'all tell them when you gonna come in, I ain't coming, I ain't gonna do this, I ain't gonna do that, and they put up with your butt because you good at your job. And you're not capitalizing on it because you won't take that talent and try to flip it for yourself, even if you're doing it on the side. Because you're scared to open up that stream. But you got to have the stream. You're not going to have sustained success without a stream. And the more streams you have, the more successful you can become.
Absolutely.
One of the models, if you will, that I've kind of adopted in my life, and because some people they want to get right to the success. They want to get right to, this is what I want to do. This is my goal. This is my dream. I want to get right to that. But we have to understand it is a process. And one of the things that I've adopted is that, I'm going to do what I have to do so that eventually I can do what I want to do. And some people don't want to start at the low paying job, or, you don't want to, I'm beneath that. I can't work it. Well, sometimes you have to do what you have to do so that you can
where you need to go.
What it is you want to do. You have to start somewhere. You can't think that you're going to start with the company and you're going to be the CEO in a year. It's not going to work like that. So, I've adopted that saying in my own life, and, with my finances, like, listen, I may not necessarily want to start at this rate. I may not want to start here, whatever, but I got to, I have to do this now. And if I'm smart with my money, then at some point I can do what I want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that there's a scripture that says, despite not the small things or small beginnings, you got to start small. Even when it's just savings, start small. $10, $15, $20. Man, you know how fast we blow $20?
Once you break it, it's gone.
Blow $20 so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Kids blow. My children will blow $20 like that.
Come on.
You can put that in an investment account monthly, and man, that money will grow so fast.
And these are the things, your income, use it to invest and not impress.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Investing. Going back to that principle, sow, save, spend, splurge. This is what Warren Buffett says, and we're going to wrap it up, man. Never depend on a single income. Make an investment to create a second one. Spending, when it comes to spending. These are all quotes. When I study finance, I studied it from people who got money. You always buy things we talked about this last week. Soon you'll be selling things you do need. Savings. Brandon said this. Don't save what is left after spending. Spend what is saved after saving. That's the key, man. So many of us, we save it a little, but we could be saving more because we putting the savings to last. Nikisha, you said it. Take it off the top. Take it out your back. Take it out. Don't even see it.
Before you see it, yes, sir.
Yeah. Old folks, they used to hide money from us, so they be looking around, they done hid the money from their dog. They ain't trust themselves. We have to get it. This is a conversation, guys, that we just don't hear in our communities. We just don't hear it. We don't talk about it. I'm tired of seeing families that can't even bury their loved one. I'm tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing that. And we haven't even scratched the surface on that, but that's a whole nother show. But at some point, man, I know my church get mad at it, but I talk about it, man. When I see your child with Jordans and all this stuff and True Religion jeans and all this kind of crap, and you mean tell me you don't have a savings account? It's interesting. I'm gonna go back to this, and they're gonna hate me. It's gonna get real hot. There are people that have been preaching to their child, go to college. You're gonna go to college. You had 18 years to help them get to college, and they gonna do their part. But the question is, did you do your part? You had 18 years to prepare. You've been preaching to them. You gonna go to college. You gonna go. You gonna get them. You gonna. Now it's time to go. Mama ain't got nothing for you. Have you been practicing what you've been preaching? These are the conversations that if we have them more often, again, we don't have to worry about the government taking care of us.
Absolutely.
We can do it ourselves because we are still the biggest spenders, which means we got it. We got it. We just have to be taught how to save it. You know, we can go on and on about this, but I promise you guys, when it comes to debt, with buying a house, if you can afford $1,500, get a mortgage for $1,100,
right,
and pay $1,500 every month. You'll cut that thing in half. I'm gonna put something out here. Y'all chime in on this. We talked about a car, right? I don't care how much a car costs. How long they give you to pay for it?
5 to 7 years.
I was going. What you say?
A car. How long do they give you to pay for it? They just moved the bar.
5 to 7 years.
It used to be 5 years. They moved it up to 7, right?
7, yeah, 5 to 7.
Yeah, they moved it up to 7. All my life, it was pretty much 5.
Yeah.
I used to like Gerber farm, but Gerber got too cheap for me. They give you basically dollar for dollar. It's some better stuff, but Gerber is good. Gerber is real good. But think about this. I don't care if it's $90,000. They give you 5 years to pay 7 years. You buy $200,000 house, they give you 30 years. Think about that. Who benefiting from that? You or the bank? The bank.
Absolutely.
If I can pay off a car, you know the car company making money. Everybody making money. You know the car dealership making money. But what about the mortgage company?
Rich.
30 years. When I looked at my mortgage, if we were to pay it off in the 30 years, we would have paid the bank more than we paid off the house.
Oh, of course. That's the whole plan. That's the whole.
Wow.
So what we did was, okay, we can afford $1,500. Let's get an $1,100 mortgage. Let's pay the $1,500 every month. Every month, we chopping down the principal.
Right.
So instead of 30 years, you could chop that down in half, 15 years. And spend the next 15 years paying yourself.
That's good.
Yeah.
But you got to live beneath you got to live beneath. I usually show the house. You know, I couldn't pull it up. The house we lived in before we moved in our house. I mean, it was an old house, man, like a little house on the prairie. And I hated that house. I hated that house. It had no central air.
Oh, jeez.
It had nothing. But I'm gonna tell you why I grew to love that house real quickly. Because the house was gifted to us. Now, I could have went out, you know, and say, man, I don't, you know, we wanted to build a house. So somebody gave us a present of gifting us a house, but it was an old raggedy house. But instead of being bougie, for 3 years, we had to live in that house. For 3 years, we lived in that house. No central air. I'm talking about, man, we weren't trying to invite no friends. We weren't trying to put no furniture. We had some other visitors in there, and I ain't talking about no house guests. I'm talking about some four-legged visitors. We had all those things in this house. But the best advice we got while in that house was from my sister, who said, if you say you want a house, and you say you could pay whatever you're going to pay for that house, start paying yourself now.
Yeah.
So I paid my mortgage to myself for 3 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's real good.
Because we're good at paying everybody else. You know how tempted it was after year one? I'm saving $1,500 a month. You know how tempted it was after year one to say, woo, let's go, man. Do you know how tempted it was after year two?
Oh, wow.
You know how tempted it was after year three of saving $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
But it sat there. And it sat there. And that was me paying me. Because wherever you're trying to go, you got to add yourself in the equation.
Yeah.
So don't live right at whatever you say you could do. Live below that. Use that principle, man. And I'm telling you, if you use that, if you're getting ready to get a house, I'm telling you, don't get the mortgage that you can afford. Get one that's underneath what you can afford and pay that. And 10 and 15 years, that house will be paid for.
I can add something specifically to the parents. You know, there's some mindset things that need to change. Stefan mentioned one of them, starting a college fund. There's so many funds out there that are minimal. You don't have to put that much into it. And 18 years later, you'll be glad you did it. You know, this Gerber, what all these other funds that are out there, that the money will grow. The money will grow. And 18 years later, when it's time for them to go to college, do whatever they want to do, you know, you'll be glad that you did that. But another thing is, well, two things really. I'll leave it at one because we're probably going to talk about the other the next time we talk about this. But sometimes there's this mindset in our community where, you know, we say to our kids or whatnot, when you turn 18, you know, you're gonna have to get out of here. You gotta do something. You gotta go. You know, you 18, you grown now. You gotta get out of my house. You ain't gonna be, you know, sleeping up in my house or whatnot. I really think we have to change that mindset. And I'm not saying to change that mindset for the lazy child, the child that ain't doing right. That's not what I'm talking about. But we have to change that mindset for the kids that are trying to do something, trying to accomplish something. 18 shouldn't be the cutoff. I lived with my mom for well past 20, lived in the same house. I started my career and still saved for a few years. What I was doing while I was staying there, I was saving my money. I was getting a nice check. I was saving my money up. I was able to get my car. I was saving. I was helping her out, but she wasn't asking me to pay all the bills. You know,
be your man. Right.
If they do stay, you want them to, well, you're going to have to pay half the bill. You're setting them up for failure. You're also setting them up to live there for another 25 years.
Talk, man.
You know what other nationalities do? No, you can stay here. For one, they've already got them an account that they're going to give them when they're 18. And for two, they allow them to stay there until they're ready to go out on their own. All those years I was living with mom, I was able to save my money and save my money and save. And then when I was ready to buy a house, I didn't have to worry about no down payment. I didn't have to worry about no closing costs. I was able to cut them a check.
Right.
I was able to cut them a check for $20,000. Here you go. Give me my keys to my house. Sometimes you're rushing them out of the house, and now they got to go find a job and figure something out. They got no savings. You haven't done anything for them. You haven't saved anything for them, and you want to kick them out of the house when they're 18, and now they don't know what to do. So
these women out here, like your wife said, these women out here, they downplay that. I was living with my mom.
I'm living with my mom. Yeah, I'm living with my mama. You see my baby.
Yeah, I'm a mama's boy with money, Jack. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
You know, we downplay that because we don't have a plan. And I'm glad you said that, Brandon, because that's the gift right there. That's the gift. My mom, of course, probably didn't have this education. So that was the gift. The gift was you don't have to rush out of here. You don't want to have to rush out here. I don't need you to pretend like you my man. No, you can do some things. I can teach you how to pay some bills, but use this time for savings. That's the gift. Yeah. So for a young adult who maybe, again, as we talked about, for the college kid, man, you feel bad because you didn't do it. Okay, fine. You can't erase that, but you still got a gift you could give them.
Yeah.
Let them stay with you. Let them earn some money.
Yeah.
And let them build their platform, because the goal should be you want them to be better than you were.
Absolutely.
Right.
That, and see, that's again, we have to always find something good out of a situation. Because I get it. It's no need of you, because we get to the point where I ain't do it, so ain't nothing else. No, there's still things you can do.
Right.
Use your house as the gift. Use your house as the savings platform.
Stack that money up.
And then tell them so they can be secure about it, so they don't let no nappy head female try to convince them that they're no good, because they're saying it's getting hot, but they don't have to move out because this woman don't respect them.
Yeah.
Let them know, this is why I need you in this house, son. This is why I want you in this house, daughter, because listen, somebody's gonna want you after this.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I'm setting you up for success, kicking you out now, getting you in that rent cycle.
Right.
Which is what our mother-in-law, what our parents did for us. They knew that you can't, especially in South Florida, you can't get out the rent cycle.
Listen, I was determined, and I don't say this boastfully. I say this as a teaching moment to whoever's watching this. I was determined, okay, to never pay rent in my life. I never wanted to have to pay rent, and to this day, I have not paid a penny of rent to anybody. Why? Because I was able to stay at mom's house, help her out, save, and I went from mom's house to my own house, which I own. And so don't be so quick to kick them out, because like he said, you're going to get them in that rent cycle, and it's hard to get out of it.
That's good.
South Florida, it's hard. You can get out of it, but it's hard, Jack.
It's hard.
It takes years to do it. And so for all the young adult parents out there, listen, maybe, you may have a high school and you feel like, man, I didn't do right. No, man, you still got a chance. Mm-hmm. God can give you grace. He can give you a second chance to do right.
Yeah.
Give them everything you didn't know, didn't learn, and you teach them that first job. Don't take the money and spend it. No, make them pay you something, but put it up to the side. If you don't think they have the discipline for it, you do it. You're mature enough to do it. I pray that you are. And when they get ready to go, you hand them a check. What's this, Mom? This everything I told you to give me. I ain't spent it. This your savings account. This Mama making up for what I didn't do.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance. We got to get, in African American, we got to get rid of these excuses.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We got to get rid of the excuses. We can't. I couldn't. I didn't know. All that. That's fine. Now you do know. And you can still make a difference. Yeah. So, we pray that this platform has been a blessing, because, again, this is not a subject that you're going to see on BET and all these, so-called urban networks that's supposed to be catered to help us. They're not helping us.
Right.
It's just entertainment.
Right. But you have some young adults who are just mature enough. And, hey, we made some mistakes. We ain't perfect. But the point of the matter is, and this goes for our church as a whole. There are people that have taken this knowledge that was in the hole, older people that have been able to reverse the curse. And you can too. By saying we haven't even scratched the surface.
I think we need another part, man. We're gonna have to do a part 2 of this.
Because we could talk about investment. We could talk about, that Gerber thing. I had Gerber, but I found a better plan than Gerber.
Insurance.
Gerber was
about insurance too, man.
Right. I help you to what I'm doing. One thing about me, I'm an open book. If it's working for me, I'm gonna share it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Something working for me. I sent Brandon. Brandon called me, man. That thing working.
Yeah.
It's an insurance plan. Stefan talked about it's an insurance plan.
Yeah.
I'll put it out there. Maybe if y'all let us know if y'all want to talk about this next week. But life insurance, this is what a black man told me about life insurance. that the white people knew that we don't. White people use life insurance for life. We use it for death.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Mm-hmm. It's called life insurance for a reason. Mm-hmm. It was never supposed to be for death. They sold it to us as death insurance, but they use it for life insurance. That's why old folks are sitting at home and hire you to come and clean them and wash them. And you're trying to figure out how they paying it. They paying it off their life insurance because it's a different way they use it. We just use it to bury somebody. You could use it for both.
Yeah.
You could use it to borrow money from yourself. I've done it. I borrowed money from my life insurance policy, and it didn't even affect it.
Yeah.
Somebody hit me on to the game. But we're not hip to the game.
Yep.
We're not hip to the game.
We're gonna have to do part 2, man. This is so much more.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna be able to retire a little earlier next week. If y'all want to hear, y'all come and let us know. I talked about it last night. I got a plan. I've shared. I can't share it. I shared it with a few. I shared it with McCoy and others. I can't share it to everybody. It ain't all y'all business, but I share it with people that I'm close to because I want them to know it's real. But there's a reason why I'm able to do it, because I'm making the right investments in the right things, man. I'm making my money work for me. So I ain't got to work for it all my life. That's the key. All right, give us some closing wrap up, man. So we talked about the graduates. We talked about all that good stuff, man. We had another great show. Give us some wrap up. T, go ahead. Give us some closing remarks.
Closing remarks. Okay, so definitely parents, make sure you're being creative with the graduation. Make sure you're following Nikisha's following her lead. As far as the money and the resources, we talked about definitely having multiple streams of income and definitely wealth whispering and not being so flashy with money. Nikisha, go ahead.
Well, my closing remarks are in reference to graduation. Take this time to be creative. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a huge platform. It's small things that actually matter to your children. As I stated, yard signs, having a lineup with family or friends to come by, honk the horn. One of my signs say honk the horn for my graduates. So I'm quite sure once I get it up, it'll be a lot of honking over here. But just those things, when she walk out the door, she'll always be reminded that we're celebrating her. So I think that is a very key part to her knowing that we're very proud of her success. So it doesn't, I'll say I'm very sad about it, but it doesn't have to be honored in a sad occasion. In reference to savings, like I said, some of the things I've started doing, and I'm very transparent about my life. It is what it is. I messed up 1,100,000 times, but I feel like this time I'll get it right. And it starts small. My mindset has changed simply because of this one particular thing in life that's literally shut the whole country down. So the mindset has to be there and change in order for you to start saving. If you're paying daycare, like I said, daycare for me is about $300-400 a month. That money I still treat it like I'm paying every month. It's not money that I leave in my account and say, you know what, girl, you got $500 left. What you gonna do with it? Nope. I'm putting it in that savings account. So every month until they reopen, I'll be putting that in my savings account just to have some security. Also, we didn't speak about it, but raises, you get a promotion at your job. Depending on how big that promotion may be, you may be able to pay yourself to have some longevity in the long run. I mean, for me, my eyes are open and I see things a lot more clear as what I want to be. I plan on retiring at 55 too, Pastor. So I'm right there with you. Investments, teaching. The big thing you can learn out of all of this is teach it to somebody else, whether it's your children or someone on board. Teach what you learn. Just like Brandon said, I'm right there with you. Somebody taught me when I joined the state. if you open up this account with Voya, a few dollars a month. I got a Voya.
Yeah, you might.
At 55, I was saying I have the Voya, the deferred count. I may start looking at Robinhood, but I'm a sore loser, so I don't really like to lose money. So I don't know how well I'm gonna do.
We'll talk about that, and we'll get with Stephon about that too. He's been doing some good things with that.
Okay, well then I'm definitely open to, but you got to be open to making sure your network for your retire is something that you don't have to go back and work again. I don't plan on working once I turn 55. So those are some of the tips and things that I've been doing as a mom of 6. And if I'm doing it, I'm quite sure you can do it. Got to change your mindset.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Brandon?
In closing, you know, I won't spend too much on the graduation stuff. Just be safe, be sensible. Health is the primary thing. Let's keep that in mind. But with the money, so there's so much more we can talk about, and I'm sure we will. You know, with as it relates to our money and our management. But I want to challenge us really to be real intentional about this, and just look at your bank statement today, tomorrow. Look at your bank statement, see what you're spending. Something that you spend on a regular basis that you don't necessarily need or have to spend on. And whatever that amount is, it might be $10 that you're using at Burger King or whatever. Take that $10 and start putting that in your savings account. But look at your statement first, because that's going to really show you where your money is going.
Absolutely.
Look at that statement. Take, pick something, or $10, $20, and start putting that in your account every 2 weeks, every week, every month. Start somewhere. I want to challenge you to do that. I want to challenge you to start that savings. I'm telling you, you will be glad that you did. So I just want to end with that, challenge us to really start looking at some things intentionally.
Man, guys, again, man, this is, when we started Hot Topics, we've always said that there was not going to be a topic that we wouldn't touch. And we know that this is not a juicy topic. It's not some of the other stuff that, we got people, but man, we don't care. Our goal is to be intentional. If we can help one person, if we can help one family change the narrative, all of us, none of us on this platform, including myself, came from a bag of riches. We all had to, crawl and scrape and get to where we are right now. But there's an old saying, when you know better, you do better. Yeah. All of us have gotten to the point where now we know better. And because of that, we're doing better. Are we where we want to be? No. But we can all admit we're not where we used to be. And that is the key. Start where you are and do what you can. If you want to take anything from this week, that's it. Start where you are and do what you can. If it's $5, start there. If it's $10, start where you are, do what you can. Be consistent with it. The key to this thing is consistency. You can't, if you got $5, you can't $5 when you feel like it. No, if you can do $5 a week, do $5 a week. No excuses. Do that, and I promise you, you will begin to see dividends. Challenge yourself to find another stream. That's my closing remarks. Challenge yourself to find another stream. It may have to be, you may lose some sleep, whatever it takes. Find another stream, because there are no successful people who have sustained success without having multiple streams. It has been a joy being in your living room tonight. This is our topic. Stephon, if you're still watching, you on, brother. We're bringing you on. I pray you don't have to work, because you're going to be on the panel talking about this subject of Robinhood and other investments. I've been watching you. You're big on it. Another Black brother doing this thing, man. And we want to make sure that we expose you to just regular people, normal people, not millionaires or billionaires. We're just regular people. But one day we are going to be millionaires.
Yeah, one day.
You know why? Because we're going to still be whispering. That's right. Man, we love you guys. We'll see you next time. Be blessed. Be safe. Catch us on another show. You know, we some of y'all are used to our face, but if nothing else, we'll see you next week, 7 p.m. Don't be late. We out. Peace.